What's up, VBF kids? For our Wednesday night lesson, I thought I would share a cool God story about what happened to me this last week or so. And yeah, just check it out. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. And if you're not, if you're going through something, if you're in some hard times, just know, please know that God is working everything for the good of those who love Him. So I have a story that is just evidence of that I hope you guys find encouraging. And it started on Sunday, not this Sunday, but Sunday before, and it was a physical attack, honestly. And just as much as it was physical, it was also spiritual, and I'll get into that. But story goes along, I got some stomach cramps on Sunday after church, and you know, that just it felt like the stomach flu. Like there's something inside of me that needed to get out. And my friends were saying, "Oh, it's just the stomach flu. You'll be okay." One of my friends said, "You know, don't go near anyone. Like no one needs to go through what you're about to go through." And I'm like, "Oh man, I've already been through some pain like these last couple hours. What do you mean?" But anyway, that Sunday night was painful. It was tough. It was some hard pain that I had to fight through. But little did I know what it was. I'll tell you what it was in a little bit. But I got through it. But I had to miss work on Monday because it was a lot. It was a lot of pain, a lot of symptoms that were not so good. So whenever I get sick, I flip a switch. I go into this health freak mode that I try to be hydrated, I try to eat healthy, I try to stay active, I just try to fight so hard to get rid of it. It's just in my nature, it's how I was raised, and that's what I did. Ever since Sunday, I just fought, get rid of it. And I didn't want to miss work on Monday, and then come Tuesday, I got through Monday night. Come Tuesday, I was just like, I'm just gonna go to work. I'm just gonna go see if just acting normal will make me normal. And kind of fought my way through Tuesday, and it was still really bad. I was kind of happy when I was able to go home. If it was the stomach flu, it would have had just gone away, I would have suspected, but it was just getting worse. So I fought harder, and then Tuesday night was the most excruciating, painful, just like diabolical night of my life. It was insane. For about 5 hours, I was just tossing and turning, cramping. I ended up screaming and throwing up, and just going through a world of pain that was something I've never experienced before, especially over a long period of time. But I just fought through it. I thought, if this is something that's in my body's just fighting it, trying to get it out, it'll be okay. And I fought through it, and I ended up just passing out. And when I woke up, I was feeling a little bit better. The pain was still there. Pain was still in there, but I felt like I might be getting better. So I still missed work on Wednesday, and I thought to myself, like, okay, this is getting better, but the pain was still there. It never fully went away. I made it through, just, you know, toughened up and got through it. And my parents were kind of hearing what was going on throughout the week, just seeing me going through it. And my dad, he has this really smart doctor friend, and he called him up. I was talking to him, and this is Wednesday night. I'm telling him all my symptoms, and I'm like, yeah, this is just something I've never been through. I'm surprised it hasn't gone away yet. And he said, wait, all of this sounds like it's your appendix. And he said, if this doesn't get better in the next few hours, you got to go to the emergency room, get to the ER as quick as possible, and they'll take care of you. And I still kind of skeptical, but I've been doing my research, trying to be healthy throughout this whole time. Like, I was still in this health freak mode. Like, okay, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. And so I was convinced. I was eventually convinced, like, yeah, it's probably my appendix. And still, I went through the night just to make sure, and it was still extremely painful. And that next morning, went to the ER about 6 a.m., got in, and the pain felt like it was going down a little bit. So I was telling them my symptoms. The doctors were going through everything, and it was weird because I felt like I didn't need to be there. I felt like I was gonna be okay. I had faith, like, yeah, I'll be fine. And anyway, I got through all of that, and it was funny. They're calling me Jerome in the hospital. Every time they called my name, they're all like, Jerome Bell, and I would go up and I'd be like, yeah, I think that's me. And they're all like, are you Jerome? I'm like, kinda. That's my middle name. Only a couple people call me that, but yeah, they're calling me that. It was funny, but I had a good attitude going in, like it's gonna be okay. But they scanned me, they took my blood, they figured out that I had appendicitis. So they told me that, and I was like, okay, that it makes a lot more sense now I went through like a few days of ridiculous pain. So they said I needed surgery, and I was like, okay, when can we do that? Because it's kind of dangerous. There's some complications that could happen if you don't do that right away. And they said, oh, we can do surgery at probably like noon. You'll be home by the end of the day. And I'm like, okay. And talk about complications. Some crazy things happened. So I was in the ER still. They got me a little room in the ER. Had an awesome nurse. One of the first things they did was they gave me antibiotics. I think that's something they just do. And they gave me this antibiotic called Sosin. They gave me Sosin, and it has penicillin in it, which I don't know if I've ever taken before, but right when they gave it to me, my heart rate spiked up like 40 beats. My blood pressure just went through the roof. It was crazy, and then my whole skin, or my whole body just broke out in hives. It was red. I was lit up. My face swelled up. I was sweating. And while that was all happening, the surgeon came in to talk to me about the surgery, and he sees me just like looking like death. And I'm like, dude, this is not what I usually look like. And I'm just like breathing. I'm panicking. I'm like, something's wrong. And he's like, you're having an allergic reaction. And so they had to counteract all that, fix me up from there, and I was able to be okay. After like 30 minutes, I recovered a little bit. And anyway, I wasn't ready for surgery quite yet. They wanted to do some more tests because they saw something in me when they did the CAT scan that was of concern, and so they wanted to do an MRI to see what that could be. But before they could do the MRI, they had to X-ray my skull to see if I had any metal in it because of a surgery I had as a kid. And it's just all these things are just delaying the surgery more and more and more. So they did the X-ray, got the results, it was cleared, and then I did the MRI, and that went well. And so I was ready for surgery. But the surgeon had already gone to another hospital. This is a colorectal surgeon that is doing these surgeries all day. So he goes to another hospital, and then I get admitted into the hospital and just wait. And I'm waiting. This is like 7 o'clock at night, and I've been through a long day already, just craziness, and pain's still there. You have to realize I'm still like hunched over, still dealing with that pain, but I'm kind of used to it by now. But something in my mind was like, I need to have surgery right now. So I'm just praying, get me in, God, get me in tonight. And I was on the phone with Jonelle, telling him about everything that was going on. And the whole hospital, the power just went out. It was completely black. Everything just went black. Everything turned off. And he's all like, dude, you gotta get out of there. That's the Joker. And I'm just like, no, man. It's gonna be okay. And then it flicks back on, the generators go on. But they can't do surgery on backup generators. So at that point, I'm just like, I have to wait overnight. Like, this is crazy. So I'm just sitting there praying, like, God, just get me into surgery. Yeah, a couple hours go by, no word on surgery. But then They come in with a gurney and they're like, "Are you ready to go?" And I said, "Yep, let's do it." The surgeon decided to do one last one, and I was the last patient of the night. Made it by probably a couple minutes. Really, it was late, getting close to like 11 p.m. and surgeon's working all the time. So he decided to do it, and thank God he did. Had the surgery. When I woke up, I just remember these doctors. They're like, "Dude, your appendix was ruptured." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, dude, we had to clean it all up. It was ruptured." And I'm like, "What the heck?" And I was like, that explains all the pain I went through on Tuesday. And they're telling me how bacteria is going through my abdomen, kind of infecting my other organs, inflaming them. I had like this abscess, which is like a pocket of like pus building up that they had to suck out. And I was like, what in the world is happening? But I'm just happy that I made it. I was happy that I woke up and I was fine. But this is when I was overwhelmed with the spirit of fear. So I went into my hospital bed. They put me back in my room, and I was noticing that my normal functions weren't working. Like my large intestine wasn't working right. I wasn't digesting food. I wasn't able to pee. Like nothing was really back to normal yet. And so all this fear was coming in. Like, man, I could be seriously injured right now, and this could be like a long-term thing, and just lies entering my mind. And I was being overwhelmed by that spirit, and it got to a point where I couldn't sleep. I was having like these evil thoughts. My mind was in an unpeaceful place. That's the only way I could put it. I had no peace with it, and it's uncommon because this probably last year I've had a lot of peace in my life, even through some tough things. Had peace through it, and this time was a little different. And I would close my eyes trying to go to sleep, and I would just have these crazy images and weird visions that were really evil. I was seeing some evil things and just believing that some evil things were gonna happen. And for some reason, I was not in that holy state of like, God's good, I'm gonna be okay. I was just in the state of fear, and I started believing it. But I got to a point where like I said, I fight. I don't let things get me down. I will always get back up, and I will always fight. But it's not by my own strength, and I think that's what God wanted to show me. And I turned on some worship music. I prayed, and that fear left. I've prayed for God's presence just to be in that hospital, for Him to just bring back what's normal in my health, and just make everything work out. And I was just praying, and then I didn't have any evil thoughts. When I closed my eyes, I didn't have any evil dreams or visions. It was gone. And at that point, I was hopeful. I was hopeful that God was working things out for the good, that He was making a story within all of this, and it was just another one of His crazy stories, and I'm just a part of it. So that next morning, I was able to get up, and I was determined, get my senses back, feel a little bit normal, get that confidence I'm gonna be okay. And I did. I had them unhook me for a few minutes, tried to walk a little bit, and then my senses just came back slowly. And so anyway, it was still a spiritual battle. I was still battling fear. I had to just pray against that, fight against it. And there was a fear of death on Tuesday night. Definitely. I was surprised I woke up, and now that we look back at it, we're thinking that was when my appendix actually ruptured. I went through 5 hours of excruciating pain. So Tuesday, I fought through the pain, fought through the fear. Thursday, same thing. When I woke up from surgery, I was on that mission again of fighting fear, fighting pain, and just wanted to get over it. I was so done with it. But then I was hurled into this isolation. I'm hooked up with needles. I'm being pumped with medication to just release all this bacteria in my body, and I'm in this state of the unknown. I've never been in this state. Like, I've never even taken penicillin before. Last time I was like in a serious incident, I was 8 years old, and I barely even remember that. But hospital is not the place for me. I love medical. I love anatomy and physiology and stuff like that. Being in the hospital, completely out of the ordinary for me. So I didn't want to be there. But in that place of the unknown, I was tested, and there's no testimony without a test. And I welcome the test. I like to fight. It's okay. You guys know I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in. I'm willing to teach. I'm willing to love. I'm willing to be taught. I gotta be willing to be tested. Okay? And for you guys, I hope it's the same. To just be willing for God to let some things happen to you in order to grow you. Right? It's James 1:2. Testing of your faith produces perseverance. And we should consider that joy. We gotta have joy in that. So I found joy in that this is gonna be a God story. I believe it. It's gonna be a God story. So anyway, I got through all that isolation, the pain, the fear, got through it. And I'm here now, I'm healthy, I feel good. You'll see me walking around and still taking a lot of antibiotics, but I'm good. God is good. But the enemy, he had a plan too. The way I see it is that over this past week or so, God lifted his hedge, and he showed me that he had a hedge of protection over me, that he had a protection that gave me peace. It gave me protection over my calling, my purpose, and everything that I love. And God took that, kind of lifted it up for a little bit, and I was susceptible to some attacks. And that's where the test came in. So I was reading Job a little bit, and I do not want to compare myself to Job, because in no way am I blameless. No way. But I do fear God. I do shun evil. But Job was a man of God, and Satan came to God, and he said, I was just roaming the earth, going back and forth from it. And God said, have you considered Job, my servant? And it was interesting to me that Satan said that he couldn't touch Job. He said, Job has a hedge over him. Take that hedge, give me some power, see how faithful he really is. And there's going to be moments in our life where God just lifts the hedge a little bit. And God did. He lifted the hedge on Job's possessions, and then he lifted it on his health. But he never gave his life. So God will always be our protector, our provider. But he's gonna allow us to be tested. Now, it's up to us to stay hopeful, like Job. It's up to us to stay prayerful. It's up to us to be faithful and call on God still in that moment, even when we're being bombarded with just a storm, which for me, it blinded me for a second. Had to get back to my senses. But if we really believe what we believe, if we are really children of God, okay, it means God loves us, all of his heart. And you heard, perfect love drives out fear. Okay, there's no fear in love. So if you're going through something hard, if you're going through a storm, that love needs to outweigh the fear. And we have to latch onto the love of God that he gives us. Okay, we can't feed into the fear. And if you're going through something that you can't control, you're going through something that's beyond the flesh, beyond this world, that's just the enemy attacking you, be joyful in that. Know God's love for you is something that will be seen, something that will be felt, something that will be evident in due time. So that's what I believed in the storm, and then out of the storm, I'm motivated. I know the enemy had a plan to knock me down. God had a greater plan. And I was saying it's not just for me. I wasn't able to be in my ministry over, the last week like I'm used to, and maybe God's plan is for other people to run it, and have test them a little bit, have them do what I usually do. God's plans are a grand scheme plan. We just see a small portion of it usually. Sometimes we see none of it, but it's just a grand scheme, everything working together for the good of those who love him. Again, if we love God, for the good of us, he's gonna love us, show that back to us. And there's some tough love that we have to just accept. This life ain't easy. We got to pick up our cross and follow him. But anyway, I want to tell you guys kind of the reason why I believe Satan, the enemy, went after me in a way. That I'm in a season right now where I've been winning a lot of spiritual battles, personal ones that if you're close to me, I'll let you know what those are. But I've been knocking down some crazy strongholds, some spiritual battles that just been life-changing, honestly. So I've also experienced the blessing and reward of winning those spiritual battles, and I've been in a good season of seeing the reward, fighting through spiritual battles, getting to the other side, and claiming victory over certain things. So these little battles I'm winning along the way, I'm gaining strength, I'm gaining confidence, gaining hope and faith, and it's all for the kingdom. To realize everything I do is for the kingdom of God, for his people. So that's not gonna be good for the enemy. The enemy is gonna see that as a threat, which I'm counting on. I'm really counting on. I believe God chose me because I am very competitive, extremely. I'm a ridiculously competitive person in so many different ways. And these last few years, I've been competitive spiritually, to fight. When I get attacked, to fight back. And in this way, I've been winning spiritual battles, and I've seen the fruits for the kingdom, for my own life. Some of you might know I was promoted to full-time in the ministry like a week ago, and that's crazy for this all to happen in that time. All these spiritual battles being won, seeing blessings that I know are from God. Just they're obvious. It's just obvious God is using me, and I'm committing to the long term that God, I am your servant. This is my calling. This is my purpose. You called me here. I'm in. So with that, I'm gonna have some attacks. So if you ever sell yourself out to God, if you ever pick up your cross, just expect that to be hard in a way that you don't expect, if that makes sense. But I all I know is that the enemy is tricky. He got me in a place that I don't like to be got. I don't like to be attacked physically. My body is something I value maybe a little bit too much. My health is something I really, really value. So that's something I can be a little bit vulnerable in. So anyway, I was tested, attacked. It's okay. I'm good now. Made it to the other side, and now I'm hopeful, joyful in a way that I wouldn't have been. I got some battle scars. I got a story that I'll remember. I'll remember the next time the enemy attacks. I know that God is by my side. He's got my back. No weapon against me will prosper. So guys, be encouraged by that. Just know greater is he that is in me than he who is living in the world. Live this life in a way that these attacks are something that fuel you. I see them as a motivation, really. And go back to the story of Job. He was blessed beyond all measure after he made it through his test, and he had a testimony. If you're going through anything, see it as a test, okay? It's creating a testimony. And as men and women of God, we're called to share our testimony, to live our testimony, to walk in the testimony, encourage people with our testimony, and that is who we are. So where I'm at now, I'm humble, I'm hopeful. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stay blessed, stay encouraged. Love you guys. I'll see you later.